Surprise, surprise, I got this almost too new to show you soundbar system from Ultimea. It's a pre-release version of their new flagship, the Skywave X70. Oh, I'm a stinker. We're using more regular words on this one. The Skywave X70 with the retail price of $999. Though soundbar sales are quite common, it would not surprise me if you found this model for less. When Ultimea approached me and I matched the specs with the price, I thought this reads like a system that, those looking to spend $1,000 or less could actually get excited about. Maybe feel a little less like they're settling. When I first started listening, I was double tasking, playing around with the Ultimea app, answering some emails. I kept getting interrupted because the sound kept doing things that made me look up and do a double take. I'd ask myself, did I just hear what I think I heard? And then I thought, well, why would I know better? We're the same person. Eventually, we came to an agreement that at least upon initial listening, the sound is significantly exceeding expectations. But let's not skip the board game and ice cream. Let's do this properly. Setup. It's a simple plug and play. The surrounds and sub, which are both wireless, paired with the bar without fuss. Ultimea does call out their wireless technology, which they branded as Cinemesh Wireless. It's built on dual 5 GHz channels, keeping latency under 20 milliseconds. It's hard to really address all these claims without engineering equipment, but using my specialized ears, I didn't notice any random drops in surround speaker audio quality, cutouts, or audio syncing issues, which avoiding all that stuff is actually refreshingly rare. There is an app, I'll get to it. It's not needed to get things up and running. Design and build. The build materials are average, not above or below, mostly plastic except for the real wood sub with stylish graining. The styling largely understated with a few notable exceptions. But I really got to get to the soundbar that is extremely strange. You see, here is the Skywave soundbar and here is the box that the whole system fits in. If you're not deeply confused, you probably flunked geometry. When I opened the box, dug in a bit, I saw 3 mini soundbars and I thought, wasn't there supposed to be just one soundbar? Well, the 3 pieces fit together to make a normal looking soundbar. No, they're not meant to work in 3 separate pieces. Settle down, but ask anyways, I need the comments. There's not much notable about the design once assembled other than the shiny gold accents outlining the upward firing grills. The controls on top are gold tinted, flush, and capacitive, and the ports are in the rear pointing straight back, the way I like it. A normal looking plastic grill spans the front and sides, though the grill on the sides is just for prettiness. The soundbar, even while being 3 soundbars, is still on the petite and light side, which, not to stereotype, is usually a cautionary sign, though, as I hinted, there may be some expectation busting in the cards. The surrounds are also smaller and lighter than your typical flagship. They have a skinny aspect ratio, maybe part of a trend. They sport the same plastic grille as the soundbar, along with the gold accent outlining the top grille. The sub relative to the soundbar and surrounds is a beast in size and weight, a total standout from the rest of the family and even flagship soundbar subs in general. The design is actually buttoned up with some stylish graining until you get to the blinged out acoustic lens, just stealing that jargon from Samsung, covering the 10-inch woofer. I've been struggling to tame the ego hanging out around this sub. Maybe certain critical bathroom fixtures should get updated to match. Channels. The Skywave X70 is a 980 watt peak power 7.1.4 channel system, advertising a 20 to 20,000 Hz frequency range. The bar is a true 5.1.2 channel bar with dedicated surround channels. The surrounds are 1.0.1 channel speakers with a horizontal and height channel, and the sub is a big old .1 right in the middle. There are 10 drivers on the bar, 8 of which are forward-facing, making up the left, center, right, as well as the surround left and right, which are found at the very ends of the bar facing forward, which is a little different. The left and right height channels are each a single 2¼ inch woofer as well. The 2 tweeters are filled with aerospace-grade magnetic fluid to reduce harshness and distortion. Ultimea does put more focus on their microchips than just about any other brand I've encountered. They branded their unique blend of processing capability as NeuroCore. They have separate processors for audio, so a triple-core DSP, and for everything else like wireless connections and managing user commands, the MCU, which combine to offer 2,000 MIPS or 2 billion instructions per second. My wife can't even do that. Ultimea advertises their conversion from silicon to the still recondite GaN amplifiers that have a number of efficiency and heat management benefits, including being able to be reduced in size but still maintain the same power. There's typically less compression, clearer highs even at higher volumes, and more dynamic range. I'll add, in general, GaN amplifiers have been praised for their precision and accuracy, but the critic might say it can sterilize or de-warmth the sound. The sub is powered by Gravis ultralinear bass technology. Ultralinear is a shortcut for saying we worked really hard to make the sub faithful to the source, which suggests high definition, low distortion, and minimal funny business. The sub has a 40-liter precision-engineered acoustic chamber that enables an infrasonic, so can't hear but can feel, 20 Hz bass extension, and is optimized for Dolby Atmos certified LFE channels, ensuring deep, impactful lows. We have a whole gift basket of laudatory claims, but you know, as they say, the proof of the pudding is in the listening. Ports, pretty minimal, just eARC, one non-2.1 HDMI input, which does not support Dolby Vision, optical, and USB. Sound adjustments, no room correction features. The money went towards a big sub, not a microphone, but you got some choices. Top line, there are 6 sound modes: standard, cinema, music, voice, game, and night. For each of these modes, there is a bass, mid-range, and treble EQ slider ranging from 6 to -6 decibels. In terms of channel adjustments, you got surround, which adjusts the surround channel's volume on both the bar and rear speakers. So those would be the drivers on the very end of the bar and the front drivers on the rear speakers. You can also adjust upfiring that impacts the volume on all the vertical channels in the system. There's a ZUP mix toggle that, simply put, creates a Dolby surround mix to audio formats without surround channels like stereo. When Dolby content is playing, the ZUP mix feature auto-activates. If you want to work the sound more from scratch, there's a 10-band equalizer, or you can bias the sound towards one of 4 styles: bass, rock, pop, or classical. So the finer level tinkering seems to be meant for music listening. Controls, the bar, which includes power, source, Bluetooth, and volume buttons. A remote. Other than the regulars like Bluetooth, source, volume, bass adjustment, you'll find level buttons for vertical and surround channels and some toggles for EQ mode and ZUP mixing. Codec support. Gonna disappoint some folks. No DTS. I find it annoying if there is no DTS support. I have a number of DTS Blu-rays that I want to protect from feeling excluded. But I really can't tell if even a significant number of my viewers, which are a hopelessly nerdy, unrepresentative sample, broadly care about DTS, or if the few are just kind of loud. I need more people to speak up. I'm gonna put a very science mandatory poll in the comments. Wireless connectivity, no internet, just Bluetooth. You paid for MIPS, not the internet. Sound quality, let's just skip to bass. How does the recrudescent 20 Hz claim hold up this time? While Ultimea describes how they technically demonstrated 20 Hz performance, from a practical perspective, you may find it does not meet your 20 Hz expectations. If you play just a 20 Hz tone, it sounds like you're torturing the sub, and the sub humane society may storm in and find it a safer home. The mid-lowish 30s is a better way to describe where the sub sounds competent and most physical, which is perfectly braggable if you can do it in a soundbar kit $1,000 or less. There is a physicality to the sub that is special for a kit sub. Get up right next to it and you'll be like, "Oh, hey there, mister. I feel ya." The sub does get into your chest a bit, but stops short of shaking your core. But overall, the sub was a delight. It enhanced so many moments with penetrating, mostly controlled, impactful lows. I've finally worked my way through the Fast and Furious series I bought a long time ago. Gotta say, not a terrible set of movies to give the Skywave X70 a test drive, though it's annoying my Fast and Furious Blu-rays are all DTS. All the engine sounds, the smashing into walls, the punches, the crashes, the low ominous groans, the bassy music, the missiles, cars falling from the sky, tires screeching, the rocket cars blasting into space, the demolition of a city with a jumbo safe for like 45 minutes, just kind of kept me thinking that those that bought this system are probably going to say my money is doing the work. And your lady is thinking I will never approve another soundbar system request ever again. Even just dinking around watching, I should have seen this coming, the semi-soap opera Untamed on Netflix. The beginning of episode 2, there's random forgettable music, but it has this regular low beat that sounded really rich, deep, and emotionally poignant. A reminder that a quality bass sound can conjure up all kinds of emotions, even when it's not deserved. Just looking at the hardware, I would predict heavy bass, weak mids, and over-processed highs. Well, okay, the bass naturally wants to be more prominent than the purist would prefer, but I have positive things to say about all three frequency ranges. The mids were not forgotten or sacrificed. They were present, giving the sound profile structure, substance, not just weight. They were critical in making the vocals, music, and numerous sound effects sound more full and rich. Something more elevated than your typical, more budget-oriented soundbar system, which I really didn't think was possible after handling the low-weight soundbar in surrounds. I wouldn't call the mids warm and cozy, but decidedly capable. The critical glue in those engine roars that span from deep, low physicality all the way up to those textured pops and crackle. The quality of the lows and mids grounds the sound, counterweighting a heavy, perhaps to a fault, dose of atmosphere and background sounds, making the system a standout amongst systems certainly in the price range and beyond. Back to Fast and Furious, just endless crunchy moments, whether it be that train scene at the beginning of the 5th movie with the track sounds, the metal clinking, the flying dirt, and Dom smashing through the moving train car. There is just an incessant barrage of directional effects, many of which had a distinct verticality to them. Really strong overhead effects that come across as directly overhead, back to front, like a bazooka rocket, airborne cars, or oddly futuristic drones. I was really impressed with just how lifelike it came across, considering the 2 rear lightweight speakers often initiated those sequences. And what do you know? Raising the levels on the surround and upward firing drivers do what you expect them to do. With some systems, I feel like the adjustments you're given have about as much impact on the action as when kids play video games in the arcade before putting in the quarter. I mean, swiping their prepaid card. At some point when I was first listening, I had developed this idea that what I was hearing was impressive. And then something happened that made the sound come across as very plain, flat, and localized. And I asked myself, am I losing it? And I responded, well, why would I know? I'm the same person. Anyway, what happened? Was I having a fever dream earlier? I eventually looked at the app and I noticed I switched to custom EQ, which caused the sound to just completely lose its shape and sparkle. So I put it back on cinema and the sound immediately bounced back to life. I unintentionally demoed just how important math is in making this system sound spunky. And to get the real benefit of the math, you're gonna have to stick with the preset EQ settings, particularly standard and cinema, when watching action stuff. Ultimea put a lot of eggs in the we can process this to something special basket. That's a risky way to go, but I think they kind of pulled it off. Dialogue, it's good, unless you want to really turn up the surrounds and up-firing drivers. If you have those levels cooking, you will likely find the dialogue to be too soft, especially in the action scene. So you will need to find the right balance between those fun spatial channels and dialogue clarity, whether to use voice mode that shaves off some of those peripheral sounds to a degree, or use third-party tools like Apple TV Enhanced Dialogue Mode. Calibrating with other systems, the Skywave dialogue clarity with voice mode on and relatively high surrounds and vertical channels is approximate to the Samsung Q990F with Active Voice Amplifier Pro off. The more you know. Music, it's not gonna be my go-to. Those complaining about GAN Class D amplification may have a teensy point. The music can come across a bit clinical. It's not gonna wrap you up in a warm blanket and rock you to sleep, but the music in the movie never disappointed. Don't buy this system for the oldies, but don't shy away if you do buy it. I suspect music will sound right on target for many of you. 2.5 cheers for the tunes.
Waterfall down my window pane, hit the ground like tears on a pillowcase. All the storm can't be contained. I think it's time for a break in the rain. Can't escape from a state of pain. Clouds are gray but the love's the same. My hurricane, don't be afraid. Maybe it's time for a break in the rain.
Something in the summer when it's saying, let me hold you just like that. As if the moment has been frozen, like the days before the fall. In the back of a Cadillac playing tired songs from way back when. And there's a new one on the way, one that reminds me of the days before the fall. In the summer days before the fall.
Wrap up. Ultimea has an impressive showing, in particular given that I reviewed a pre-release version with apparently a pending firmware update that I was advised not to download because they found some bugs. So I have some reasonable expectations that the good stuff will stay and the sound warts will be mitigated to some degree. Yes, I know there is one particularly popular system series that gets down to about $1,000. I think there are a few reasons you might consider the Skywave X70 over the Samsung. The most obvious is substantially better bass. Yes, even over the F upgrade. The atmosphere, surround, Atmos effects are stronger, but there are non-ignorable advantages to the Q990 series, including microphones for real-time sound regulation, DTS support, network connectivity, and 2 HDMI 2.1 inputs with 120 Hz pass-through. As I mentioned, Ultimea is on my radar now, and I'm looking forward to finding out how they evolve their promising technologies, particularly in future flagship products. Look for buying links in the description, subscribe, and keep me motivated. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.